Well, hello good people and welcome back to the channel. It seems like yesterday when I posted my last review for season 14 of Married at First Sight. But today is a new day, and in a few moments, I will be sharing my thoughts and feelings on the season premiere of Married at First Sight San Diego. And for this review, it will be my plan to examine the episode from the rooter to the tutor, and only focus on the important things that happen within 10 minutes or your money back. But before we kick things off, if you're new to the channel and you want to help support a small creator such as myself, then feel free to hit that subscribe button. I'm less than 100 subs away from reaching my goal for the end of the year, and I appreciate any support that comes my way. So without any further delay, let's jump into this review. Now allow me to start off this review with an episode breakdown. Now this season premiere's episode runtime is over 3 hours long. It has over 10 commercials, and before you ask, the answer is yes. Most of this episode is a huge waste of time, and if you haven't seen it yet, then I would highly advise you to treat this episode like a bill collector and avoid it. But to summarize the episode, the first scene begins 2 weeks before the wedding day, and we spend the first hour and 20 minutes of the episode seeing the reaction of the cast members as they break the news of their involvement on the show to their friends and family. Afterwards, all the male cast members as well as the female cast members meet one another so they can get better acquainted. 20 minutes later, Alexis and Justin shop for their wedding attire. 12 minutes after that, Stasia and Nate shop for their wedding attire. And a little after the 2-hour mark, we get footage of the women celebrating their bachelorette party and the men celebrating their bachelor party. We also get to see some confessionals, and towards the 2-hour and 27-minute mark, we are finally at wedding day. So in the interest of time, I will only be talking about my thoughts on the cast members as they met with their friends and family to break the news, as well as Alexis and Justin's wedding. Let's first talk about Lindy and Miguel. Lindy is first shown breaking the news of being on the show to her friends, and they are largely supportive of her decision. We as the audience learn that Lindy grew up very sheltered, and once she broke free of her upbringing, she became bad when it came to picking men. Lindy says that she wants a man who is emotionally available and who is a real man. However, her friends let us as the viewing audience know that Lindy has attitude problems. They also let us know that she can get a little crazy and that she needs a man that can calm her down. Now later on in the episode, when all the women meet together, Lindy admits that her deal breaker is meeting a man that's passive because she will walk all over him and give him no respect, which in my opinion is a huge red flag. We then get Miguel, who's wearing this getup as he's meeting his friends to let them know about being on the show. Miguel is quite the unique person, which isn't bad or meant to be a diss in any way. He likes poems, he finds his escape through fantasy and sci-fi stuff, he avoids confrontation, and he's very emotional. When he tells his friends about being on the show, they seem very concerned because they know that Miguel is a good guy, but it would take a special woman to be with him, and their friend is that the woman that he's matched with may try to take advantage of him. In my opinion, I think the friends are 100% correct, and I think that the experts really fumbled the ball with this match. I think Miguel is a good guy, but he is not the type of guy that Lindy would date or marry if she had her choice. And I truly feel that Lindy will be walking all over Miguel later on in the season. Next up, we have Justin and Alexis. Justin is shown meeting up with his brother and sister-in-law to discuss being on the show. And the brother and sister-in-law voice legitimate concerns, which caused Justin to get very emotional and start to cry because he felt that they should have been more supportive. Now, I'm not against seeing a grown man cry on TV, but when I saw Justin get in his feelings, it reminded me of Zach from Married at First Sight Houston, and that is not a good look. During the bachelor party, Justin and his brother get into a huge argument over Justin not being ready for the process. And while I don't want to pick sides in the matter, I can see where the brother's coming from, and I don't know if Justin has the tools needed to thrive in a marriage. Furthermore, Justin reiterated several times throughout the episode that most of the women who he's dated in the past only cared about the size of his Peter Weeder, which isn't a bad problem if you ask me. But the brother shares that he's been single for 5 years and he's been celibate for 1 year. Now I'm not sure how Alexis will take this news, but Justin throughout this episode is giving me Will vibes from Married at First Sight Charlotte. Now nothing is wrong with knowing your worth as a man, but in my opinion, women have their needs, and most women not only desire to have sex, but they ultimately want to know that their partner can satisfy them. And if a man wants to be stingy with the tallywhacker, then the woman can get up and leave, or she can cheat, plain and simple. But then we have Alexis, who was meeting up with her 3 male friends, and I found it interesting that she was playing football with them like she was one of the guys. So she tells them about her plans to get married, and they seem very supportive of her decision, but they also let her know upfront that she needs to work on being tactful with the man that she marries, and she also needs a man that can handle her personality. Now, with Justin being overly emotional and Alexis being strong-willed, I would like to see if Alexis could bring herself to respect Justin's vulnerabilities, and if Justin could accept the fact that Alexis has a number of male friends. I still have high hopes for them, but after seeing this episode, things are looking a bit shaky. Next up, we have Krysten and Mitch. Krysten first meets up with her friends and breaks the news to them about being on the show. Her friends seem very supportive of her decision, but I continue to see a number of red flags with this match. I want to reiterate that I think Krysten is a mix of Alyssa and Lindsay from last season. She's an animal lover, full of energy, very outspoken. She places the value of looks and sex on a high pedestal, and she got cheated on in the past. When the female cast members met together, Krysten mentioned that her deal breaker was being matched with a man in his older 30s that has never been in a serious relationship and has issues with settling down. And in my opinion, this marriage was doomed from the start. And that is because Mitch is an older man who has had commitment issues in his past relationships. Later on in the episode, Mitch met with his family to break the news, and his people seemed very happy with him being on the show. But one concern I had for him was that he admitted to being a hothead that speaks his mind, and he may cause a scene. All I know is that if their marriage fails, I wouldn't want to be near these two when things get heated. And next up, we have Morgan and Binh. Morgan meets with her friends to break the news, and the friends seem pretty shocked, but they support her. Morgan makes it clear that her potential husband needs to know that she likes her freedom, independence, and control, while her friends concur that Morgan's husband needs to know how to handle a strong and outspoken woman. Binh meets with his friends to break the news, and they seem to be very supportive of his decision. Binh reiterates that he is a mama's boy, as well as frugal, and I have to say that this couple reminds me a lot of Olivia and Brett from Married at First Sight New Orleans. And after seeing this episode, I know that finances are going to be the number one issue with this couple, because Morgan made it abundantly clear that being with a cheap guy was one of her deal breakers. And while I share Ben's philosophy on avoiding wasteful spending, being with a woman is expensive, and it's hard to find a woman that is cool with being frugal. But we shall see how they work out. And lastly, we have Stasia and Nate. Stasia meets with her mother to break the news, and her mother seems very supportive of the process. Stasia made a series of concerning comments through this episode. First, she said that she really doesn't need a man, but she would like one, essentially because she can't make babies on her own. She also reiterated that she intimidates men and she will stand up for herself. And she also seems to base her happiness in having money and material possessions, which isn't a bad thing, but in my opinion, having these standards make it really hard for some women to attract a good man. Nate also met with his friends to break the news, but the episode really didn't share any new information that we as the viewing audience didn't already know about him. Now, with roughly 30 minutes left in the episode, we finally get to see a wedding, which in my opinion was unacceptable. Justin and Alexis are set to get married, but of course we can't just jump into the wedding. We gotta be subjected to fluff to stretch out the episode even further. And you might be asking, what type of fluff is this? Well, we spend a good 30 seconds hearing about how gassy Alexis is leading up to the wedding. We also get to see Alexis and Justin talking about their feelings and emotions leading up to the actual ceremony. But the actual ceremony starts with 20 minutes left in the episode, and while it seems that they're both very nervous, it was nice to see them have a positive interaction with one another upon meeting. They both seem to have a good sense of humor, but the WTF moment of the episode was when the pastor told the audience that Alexis likes to make coochie molds out of clay. It was pretty random, but pretty funny. Alexis and Justin exchanged their vows, which was very beautiful, and it causes a lot of folks to cry in the audience. They kiss, and it seems like they are both in bliss. But when they get a chance to sit down and talk, Alexis shares in her confessional that she's not physically attracted to Justin, but she digs his personality. But they talk about their past experiences with marriage proposals and engagements, and that's how the episode ends. I was a little on the fence about this couple prior to the wedding, but after Alexis shared that she's not physically attracted to Justin, I'm even more on the fence. Now I know this review is a little over 10 minutes, but with a 3-hour episode, I tried my best. But overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll rate this episode a solid 2. 3 hours was a long time for a season premiere, and we only get to see one wedding ceremony. I thought that the show would learn from its mistakes from the last season, but it seems like they haven't. So once again, if you haven't seen this episode already and you want to waste your time, then feel free to check it out. But don't say that I didn't warn you. And this marks the end of the review. If you have any comments related to the episode or my review, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to reply to each and every comment. I will also be on the lookout for other YouTubers who are doing live streams for this season of Married at First Sight, because I plan to be in the comment section leaving crazy comments like I normally do. So until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.